My name is Wylie Stateman. I'm the sound designer for American Primeval.
And I'm on the Jimkes-Root, and I'm the Co-Supervising sound editor and music editor on American Primeval.
There's war brewing in this territory.
Pete Berg insisted on making his American Western, which is really not a Western at all. It's really a story about survival that takes place in the American West.
Why do your people have so much hunger to
It's really a story that brings four characters together to sort of understand the conflict of what life was like in the 1850s in the American Southwest.
When Pete went to the writer Markel Smith, who also wrote The Revenant, with the idea of the series, he only showed him an ice pick, and that was it. That was going to be the story. For American Primeval, some of those really core concepts were to have a pulse, which is a very sonic term, right? A pulse and push, anxiety, constant movement. So these people are constantly on the run. And to really translate that in all aspects of the film process for us, meaning sound and music. We really wanted to embrace the rough edges of the story and the sound and be confident in that. Not going for the polished, traditional Western look with the sweeping vistas and symphonic scores, but being aware of really embracing the imperfections, the simplicity, keeping it very authentic and raw, as Wylie said, and translating that in the sound.
A lot of our palette was to be devoid of certain things. There are no pretty birds. There's no pleasant days. It's very much a story where, Pete wanted to pull the audience through this experience and have it be honest and natural and just authentic to this period.
Learning when to have some of the animals and the winds and everything play, again, using either a palette of libraries, going out to set to record some materials, or choosing not to have particular sounds in there. If we're in this dark night where all kinds of creatures might be out in the darkness, we maybe not play those creatures in the sound effects side of things, but we have weird textures in the music that Explosions in the Sky created with their guitars to still get this sense of eeriness and danger lurking out. So here we're gonna have a look at the scene with the fight between Cutter and Isaac.
Pull back or get shot! Take him out!
Jacques Jouffret, our DP, is really looking at shadows and profiles and close-ups. And so the sound becomes sort of a glue that provides either extra detail, extra sort of production value so that we understand the write-up, we understand the look on each of the actors' faces as we cut around to see the reactions. And so sound is either gluing together, providing continuity for the scene, or it's providing sharp, plosive action.
In the first section of the scene, there is a pulse in there, but it's still a bit uncertain. So let me see if I solo this. It's not a steady pulse. It's not a one rhythm. There's these kind of wailing, low, dangerous sounds going through. But then as soon as the gunfight starts, we know now who the enemies are. We know there's going to be a fight for life or death. So for a moment, we get more. But it's still simple and raw in a lot of ways. It's not a big orchestra, taiko drums or anything like that. Again, that's where working with Explosions in the Sky was just such an asset, because they're this amazing American post-rock band. That was very much the palette we were working with, still with a lot of creative flair to it that gave us these textures that you wouldn't necessarily think of. For example, this bowed guitar. which brings us tension, friction, and is a piece that's used very much throughout the show. But it's just this acoustic baritone guitar that they used a violin bow on, not just for bowing, by the way, but also to create, again, the pulse. At times it's more of a kick drum, at times it's more just tapping the bow on the guitar. So there are very creative ways to have this tension and this pulse in the show be reflected through the different instrumentations that, again, work really well with the sound design.
Man out, boys! Stay alert! Something right.
Here we have an invasion. It's a raid, and we don't know who these people are. They're hooded. We haven't revealed who they are yet. And so what we have is this sort of parade of discontinuity picture, but we have sound kind of gluing it together to give it some velocity, to give it movement in terms of time, and to make it really interesting for the audience to just be mesmerized by.
There's this flute element that's almost like a call and response that we hear as Jacob is searching for Abish, and in this kind of resolution of it all, there's a flute and a guitar, and I'll just play that. And it's very simple, but in the call, which is almost like Jacob's call, there's a sadness, a longing in it, whereas the response, which could be interpreted as Abish's response, there's was something more steadfast, which really reflect kind of how their relationship developed throughout the story as she gained more of her own individuality. Here, just playing some of the dialogue after the write-up of the mob, you'll notice that it's not fully covered. We're really just playing the pieces of dialogue that are there.
Something right. I know we're coming. I know we're coming. Here they come!
That same piece for the music. It's a big Pro Tool session we have. There's a lot of pieces to it, but not a lot at the same time for each flute group.
Yeah, clarity over density.
Exactly.